A new Justice Department order could cut down on the massive backlog of immigration cases. Attorney General Merrick Garland reversed a controversial Trump-era policy. He will now allow immigration judges to effectively pause cases they deem low priority. The Trump administration had barred judges from closing those kinds of cases and removing them from their dockets. The move could help ease the whopping backlog of 1.3 million immigration cases as U.S. officials prepare for the possibility of asylum seekers fleeing unrest in Cuba and Haiti. NBC News Justice correspondent Julia Ainsley joins us now with more on this decision. So, Julia, first of all, just simplify this for us. What does this reversal do for the judges, and what could it mean for asylum seekers?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of people don't realize that immigration judges are not part of their own judicial branch. They actually fall under the executive branch, and they have to answer to the attorney general. So what Garland is doing now is undoing what his predecessors, Sessions and Barr, did by saying that now judges can close their own cases. It seems like a simple thing. A lot of other judges can do this, that when they see a case that is frivolous or doesn't meet their priorities, and they are trying to prioritize which cases they see first, they can actually close a case. That means they pause it. They don't cancel it forever. It doesn't mean the person has a right to stay in the United States forever, but often it can mean, okay, now you have time to get more details together. You can apply for a visa. It just means the court will not see you right now. And then it allows these judges to have some control over who they're seeing in their courtroom and when, so that they have the authority to prioritize who gets heard first.
Now, the Biden Justice Department has reversed two other Trump-era immigration decisions, moves that have now expanded who can qualify for asylum. What does this tell us about the Biden administration's immigration priorities right now?
Yeah, that's right. This is the third move that Garland has made to undo what his predecessors did. Those other moves made it easier for victims of gang and domestic violence to claim asylum, because that was something that was put up as a bar, a prohibition under the previous administration. This tells us that the Biden administration is moving in the direction of trying to undo some of the past and make it easier for asylum seekers, especially those who really need to be heard first, to get their day in court. However, I will say there are still many critics of this administration saying that they're not doing enough soon enough to address the growing number of people, trying to get their cases heard in court, and also those who are still waiting at the border to simply come into the United States and make a claim in the first place.
And Julia, this latest decision comes at really a critical moment. We know DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas warned those fleeing Cuba and Haiti not to come to the U.S. by sea. Would these be considered, do we know, high priority cases if people do make it over?
Well, it seems that they wouldn't have their day in U.S. immigration court at all. If they are determined to have a legitimate asylum claim, they say that they would be resettled in third-party countries. That's because Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of DHS, wants to deter anyone to make that journey by sea. Of course, we have to point out that his own family did make that journey when they fled Cuba in the 60s. So quite a contradiction there. But they're trying to deter that kind of immigration right now, something that they've gotten immense blowback from immigration advocates about in recent days.
All right, Julia Ainsley, thank you so much.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.